I'm Yaren, product marketer at UXfolio, and I am joined by our product designer and portfolio expert, Réka. And for everyone new to UXfolio, let me give you a quick intro. UXfolio is a portfolio builder with a mission to help UX designers and researchers build portfolios and present their work. Today's session will be a hands-on portfolio building workshop. We will start with a short theory part about what makes a strong portfolio homepage and about page. Then Réka will build these pages live in UXfolio editor and share practical tips along the way with her decisions. And at the end, we will have time for Q&A. If you have questions during the session, please add them to the Q&A box so we don't miss them, and I will try to select from those. And with that, I will hand it over to Réka. I'm super excited for this session. So Réka, stage is yours.
Hi everyone, thanks Yaren for the intro and thanks everyone for joining. I'm super excited about this session. I'll walk you through what recruiters and hiring managers are actually looking for in a portfolio and show some real examples along the way. Then we'll switch into live building mode. I'll build a portfolio in UXfolio from scratch so you can see how quickly you can turn the theoretical part into a real portfolio website. By the end, you'll know exactly what to include and how to put together a portfolio that feels professional and recruiter friendly. But let's start with a question. What's the very first thing standing between you and your next UX job? Most people would say real projects, experience, a degree. But actually, before any of that would matter, there's one thing you need: a portfolio. Because that is what gets you through the door and gets you the interviews and the chance to prove all that. So I looked at real job postings from companies like Figma, Miro, Revolut, and Anthropic. I will show you all of them. And their application forms have one thing in common. They ask applicants to submit a portfolio website. And as you can see in these examples, in Figma's job posting and in Miro's, they are asking for a specific format. They want a portfolio site, like Figma put it, or a website, as Miro put it in their application form. So despite all the conversations about AI and changing hiring trends and so on, portfolios are still one of the most important tools in a UX job search. Let's look at the other job postings I have for you. So on the left, you can see the Revolut one. It's also asking for a link to a portfolio. Then you can see the one at Anthropic. They are looking for a product designer for Cloud Code, and they are also asking for a portfolio site. And finally, here's a job posting that we have at UX Studio right now. We are looking for a junior designer colleague. And as you can see, we are also asking for a portfolio link right away. And our recruiter also specified that we want at least one strong detailed case study that demonstrates product thinking. So a portfolio is truly essential if you want to get a job in UX in 2026. Now that we've established this, let's talk about what actually makes a good portfolio. Because when students or anyone who is just starting out in UX think about portfolios, they often imagine something super complicated and overwhelming and difficult to achieve. But in reality, most strong UX portfolios are built from just a few essential building blocks done well. You just have to know what recruiters and hiring managers are looking for and just build those few things. So that's all that you need in a portfolio. But the good news is that I'm going to walk you through these key components that every UX portfolio should include, things like navigation, headline, work section, about section, and so on. And once we cover the structure, we'll switch into the practical part where I'll show you how to actually make it come to life. With that, let's start with the first thing, which is actually the navigation. So the navigation in a portfolio is very important because that's the first thing a recruiter sees, and that's where they will know what your portfolio consists of and how to get to different parts of your portfolio. It needs to be clear and intuitive, so don't reinvent the wheel with super creative patterns. Just use a straightforward navigation. Include your name or a logo, which is linked to your homepage, so wherever they navigate inside your portfolio, they can quickly get back to the homepage by clicking on your name or logo. Add the link to your resume, because when a recruiter is reviewing your portfolio, they might need your resume at some point to check some details or some experiences, and it's very, very practical if you have it right at hand in your navigation. Then you can also add some other ways to contact you. Maybe add an email or a mail to link or copy email button somewhere around the hero section or navigation, or some links to your professional social media profiles, such as LinkedIn or Behance or Dribble, or wherever you have some work. Then the next thing is your headline. Your headline is the elevator pitch of your portfolio. This sets the stage for your whole portfolio and personal story. It's very important to state your profession clearly in your headline, because imagine a recruiter whose job is to look for a digital product designer. They want to see this specifically, that you are that. So don't write super generic things like visionary designer, UX unicorn, UX architect. Just state your profession clearly. Then highlight your unique value. Highlight what sets you apart. This can be your unique background, which adds a unique perspective to your work. This can be a specialization, an industry experience. Maybe you worked a lot on fintech apps or stuff like that. So highlight your unique value and make it relevant for the job that you're applying for. I think from all of the things that I mentioned before, this is the most important one, actually. So it's very important to highlight the connection between you and your experience and your expertise and the role that you are applying for. Then let's see some headline templates to achieve that. These templates will help you write a headline that is specific and can set you apart. The first one focuses on the impact or result of your work. The second one focuses on a specific industry experience. The third one focuses on a specific outcome, like simplifying very complex apps and stuff like that. And the last one focuses on the background. This is especially useful for career switchers, because if you are switching to UX from a different background, then you should definitely make it your advantage and your unique value proposition. If you want, you can take a screenshot of this to use these templates later when crafting your headline. And with that, let's move on and check out some examples. In these examples, you will see some portfolio hero sections from real designers. And you can also see different approaches with the headline. I especially like the first one. It says, I'm a systems-minded product designer who moves across strategy, design, and code to ship lovable products. So you know from the first glance that this designer is focused on design systems, can also code, and can also ship products. So this is a great value proposition. Then another approach is just stating some individual keywords: product designer, design systems, mobile apps. But this way, it also communicates the connection. So, for example, if this designer would apply for a job at Revolut, then it would be super relevant to them. And two other examples. I also like when designers add logos somewhere around the hero section. It also builds trust. So you can build logos, you can add logos of the companies that you worked with, and so on. That also helps a lot with building trust and grabbing attention. All right. With that, let's move on to the next essential element, which is the work section. This is the heart of every UX portfolio. This is the section where you show your case studies. The most important thing to keep in mind regarding this section is that quality always beats quantity. So don't try to include everything that you've ever worked on. You should only include your best work, the work that you're proud of, first of all. And second of all, you should only include relevant work. Include relevant work for the job and relevant work for your headline. So if in your headline you said that you are focusing on design systems and mobile apps, then you should include case studies that are related to those. So maybe mobile apps that you've built and not websites. Or not branding work. That's very important. So your case study selection or your case studies should support your value proposition in the headline. Then you should add a descriptive title and subtitle to your case studies, because these are the book covers for the actual case study pages. So they should be compelling and they should communicate what each case study is about. It's great if you can include the impact of your work right in the title. That can be a very strong hook. But also other details like your exact role and so on. Finally, they should be consistent. So try to use consistent thumbnail images. And by that, I mean that these thumbnail images should work together as a whole. So try to use the same background style. If you used a mesh gradient background in one of your case study cards, then you should use a mesh gradient backgrounds in the others as well, and so on. But let me show you some examples and you will understand exactly what I'm talking about. Here you can see two very different work sections. In the first one, there are two different apps, but presented in a consistent way. So mobile and desktop, but using similar style, layout. And what I also like about this are these labels. I know that you probably cannot read them because they are super small in this screenshot, but these type of labels in case study cards help recruiters and hiring managers instantly see what each project is about or what it focuses on. Here you can add labels like UX design, UX research, mobile, B2B, B2C. So things that help spot the most relevant case studies. Yes, different layout, but similar structure here on the second one. And here this last one is a more creative approach, but despite the different colors, it still stays consistent, as you can see. And I also like that they included the logo inside the thumbnail images. The next essential element in a portfolio is the About Me section or page. As a hiring manager, so when I review case studies, portfolios, I prefer to have the About page as a dedicated page inside the portfolio and not as a section on the home page, because it makes it easier to navigate and it also gives you more space to write about yourself. And this page should include your career journey. Then you should also mention one or more non-work related things about you. So add a bit of personality to this page, maybe some hobbies or interests that you have outside of work. And this is the place where you should also include a photo of you, but this is of course, optional, but if you decide to add the photo to your about page, then it should be a professional one. And by professional, I don't mean it should be like a very serious photo with a shirt and in front of a white background. But what I mean by that is that it should have good quality, and it should match the style of your portfolio. Then a very strong thing that you can add to your about page are testimonials. So feedback from colleagues or stakeholders or managers on what it's like to work with you. This again builds trust, and it says a lot about you, more than you could write about yourself. And also contact information. So make sure that you make it easy for recruiters and hiring managers to reach out and find out more about you. Let me show you some examples. The first example is from a designer at Oracle. What I really like about this about page is how personal it is, because she included a gallery of personal photographs, and this gives the page a lot of personality without sharing a lot of personal things. But I also like the second example where Michelle, another talented designer, shares her career journey, but then also shares it in a scannable way with these two cards. Yes. So I talked a lot about what you should include in your portfolio, but now let's see how you can actually build one. If you want to follow along live, this is the moment where you should open a new tab and go to uxfol.io. You can sign up for free, pick any template you like, and build alongside me during the session. And don't worry about having all your content ready. You can add your case studies and other details later. The goal today is just to set up a foundation for your portfolio. So by the end of this session, you can already have a portfolio website that's ready to customize, polish, and eventually publish. All right, with that, let me open UXfolio. Okay, I think you are seeing the editor now. So as you can see, when you're using UXfolio, you never start from a completely blank page. Once you select a template, you get a structured portfolio website with recommended pages, sections, and layouts. So you can just focus on your content and adding your style and customizing your site, but you have a lot of help for that as well. I already added some example content to this portfolio so that we can focus on the editing process and not on typing everything from scratch. And we'll build a portfolio for an imaginary UX designer called Nora Voss. Nora is transitioning into UX from an interior designer background. And this is a very common path, by the way. So there are a lot of UX designers who are transitioning from totally different creative fields. This is a very common pattern. And in that case, as I mentioned earlier, you should highlight your background as an advantage. You shouldn't hide it. So this is what I did with Nora here. To make her portfolio more realistic, I also added two case studies already, but I will show you how to do that a bit later on. And the two case studies are two concept projects, but both are related to interior design. So in one, she redesigned a feature for a virtual room decorator app. And in the other, she fixed some UX issues in IKEA's room planner. So this is exactly what you should do if you don't have real experience. You should do redesign projects, concept projects, and you can do that in the in the industry that you worked on previously to show your industry knowledge. All right, then let's start with editing this portfolio. I will start with the design first. For that, you can just open the design panel and super easily start to customize things like colors, fonts, animations, and components. Let's start with the colors. As you can see, you have all these color palettes that you can choose from, so you can try them. But I will actually select this soft clay color palette that I really like. What's great about this is that you can, when you switch color palettes, everything in your portfolio changes colors. So you don't have to worry about that. Even if you switch to dark mode, everything will be visible and everything will switch colors. Then I will go back to this soft clay that I really like. The only thing that I don't like about this soft clay palette is this orange color. So I will just move to custom, because you can customize everything in UXfolio if you want. And I will change this color to a purple one. I think this should be fine. I will just hit save, and our new colors are saved now. All right. I will also quickly choose some different fonts because I imagine Nora as being more sophisticated and more, I don't know, just having a more defined visual style. So this Monroe might be a bit too general or generic for her. So I will try to choose a font pair with some more personality. Here, as you can see, you can choose from different font pairs. And I wouldn't recommend using more than 2 fonts in your portfolio. You should use a heading font that has a bit more personality and a body font that is easy to read. I will go with that, but I want to show you that you can also customize everything here. So you can go and individually set different title, paragraph, navigation, and so on styles. All right, I kind of like this. Now let's focus on the hero section and make it a bit more interesting. So let's edit the navigation first. With the navigation, you can choose from different layouts and different styles. I will center it, make it filled, and make it filled so it's a bit more visible. And that's it. After that, I will just edit the hero section. Maybe I will center it because it goes nicely with our navigation. And I also want to add some social icons because, as I mentioned, it's very important to make it easy for recruiters and hiring managers to find out as much as they wish about you. So a great way is to just add some social icons to your LinkedIn or Behance right in the hero section. You can also add the button to your resume because, as I mentioned earlier, that can also be super handy. So I will do just that, and I will also turn on this icon for it. And I said that it's also super nice to show your name in the navigation so the recruiter knows whose portfolio they're reviewing wherever they are in the site. So I will switch to the name option, but you can of course also upload a logo. Now, content-wise, our hero section is looking nice. Let's edit the background. If you want to make the first impression really engaging, then I recommend using these animated backgrounds that come out of the box with UXfolio. You just have to choose the one that you like. For example, I really love this moving gradient, and you can customize the colors in it. But there are a lot of different options that you can try. I also really like this grainy mesh gradient that animates. You can also customize the colors in this, or add some movement. But for now, I will choose a grid like this. So it has this playful fig jam whiteboard vibe to it, which I think goes really well with Nora's designer and interior designer background. All right, now that we are done with the hero section, we can move on to the case studies. But before the case studies, we should introduce the case studies somehow. And we have a divider section here which says selected projects, but I want to make something more visually engaging. So I will add a different kind of divider section. I will add an animated text carousel. This has a background right now, but I will edit it so it has no background. And I will also edit the style a little bit. For example, I want it clipped. I want the line color to be a bit more visible. And then I will choose maybe this font for it. And I will also change the divider icon. And now let's see the content. I want to write it like this. And with that, our divider section is done. But we will need a divider section for the testimonials as well. So I will quickly delete this current text divider and duplicate. No, first I need to duplicate it and duplicate the one that we just created. And I will just move it here. Great. Now we have two consistent and visually engaging and dynamic dividers in our portfolio. Just let me really quickly adjust the content because these are our testimonials. Okay, great. All done. Now let's work on the case study cards. I added these case studies already to have them in here and not spend a lot of time on them. But if you're just starting out, then you can just click on the Add Case Study button and you can generate a case study using AI. You can first select the sections that are relevant for your project. For example, if you've done interviews or competitor research and UI design, you can just select those and then go through these 3 steps and generate a starting point for your work. Or you can also start from a blank case study. But we will not go through that right now. We will focus on editing the thumbnails. First, I will edit the layout. I like this grid, but a trick if you have just a few case studies, like 1 or 2, you can choose a list layout. And this way they will fill the space on your homepage and it will not look that empty. You can also add a card to these and maybe increase the corner radius. I will edit the card background. So it's this color. As you can see, you can use your palette that you selected everywhere. So you don't have to bother with hex codes because once you save your color palette as like a mini design system for your portfolio, you can reuse it everywhere, whatever you want to edit. Okay, so now we created these cards. I also want to maybe add those labels that I talked about and done. But it looks a little boring. So let's edit the thumbnail images. What you can see here is the built-in thumbnail designer in UXfolio, where you can choose different layouts, add device mockups, you can choose different settings about it, and also backgrounds. Here we will choose from our curated backgrounds and maybe choose this one, which really matches the vibe that we're going with. So I will just hit save and our professionally designed thumbnail is done with realistic device mockups. So you can just drop your screens into UXfolio, and you will get these out of the box. You can choose from different layouts and actually different devices, so it works with laptop and desktop as well. Mockup style, make it a bit more realistic, and again select the background. Of course, you could select a different background, but for this portfolio, I will select the exact same, so it's super consistent. All right, now that we are done with this, what I don't like is that these labels are black. So I will go to this side panel where I can just very quickly switch again from my palette the color of these labels. Okay, perfect. Now it's starting to look really, really nice. Here at the bottom of the home page, I already added these testimonials. Of course, you should change the copy inside because this is just a placeholder, but it's always great, a great way to build trust. All right, and to make it like a frame, I will also add the animated background that I just showed you to the maybe to the footer. Or maybe I will just leave it here right now and go on to the About page. All right, so I also added some content to our About page and added an image. As I said, in your About page, you can include a photo of yourself, but make sure that it matches your portfolio and reflects your personality and that it is good quality. You can, of course, quickly adjust the corner radius. I advise you to use the same corner radius across your portfolio to keep it cohesive visually. This portfolio has this rounded style. You can see cards, case study cards, thumbnail images, everything is rounded. So I rounded this as well. I added the text here already, but to make this a little bit more interesting, I will add a Let's Connect or a Find Out More button with the LinkedIn link here. I will turn on the icon as well on this button. And of course, you can add your LinkedIn link and it will take visitors to your LinkedIn right away. Another thing that you can add to make your About page a bit more interesting and also to build trust is a logo wall. So I already talked about quotes and testimonials, but you can also add an animated logo wall. You can use this both for showing your tech stack or design stack, so the tools that you use in your design work, but you can also use this to show the clients that you've worked with. For this example, I will leave it like this with these tools, but you can, of course, change these anytime. All right, I think that Nora's portfolio is starting to look really, really nice and engaging. So there are just a few little details that I want to add. In the design panel, you can also add animations to the portfolio, so it looks even more dynamic as it loads. You can also, of course, customize the buttons and the social icons. And there's one more interesting thing that you can add that also adds a lot of personality to a portfolio, which is custom cursors. This is kind of a trend right now that I see in portfolios, and it can really make it fun and unique. So I advise you to try them. And for this portfolio, I really like this Figma style cursor, which, as you can see, will turn into this little view button as you hover on case study cards. But you can try some other buttons like this one, for example, which turns into a little view button actually as you hover over the case study cards. And it also turns a bit bigger as you hover on buttons. But for now, I will select the Figma type. I think it really matches the dotted grid in the background. All right. And if you're satisfied with your portfolio, then you can go and publish it super easily from here. You can customize the URL of the portfolio. So if you're using the default UXfolio URL, you can change the name here. So it can be uxfolio.io/your name, but you can also connect a custom domain to the portfolio if you click here. I will hit publish. And now our portfolio is live on the domain that we entered. You also have some sharing options. So as you can see, you can upload a link preview easily, and you can preview how it looks currently. So this is what people will see when you share it with them on a chat or when you share it on LinkedIn. But you can always edit this preview in the settings. And you can also upload a favicon to your portfolio. It makes a much more professional first impression if somebody opens your portfolio and they see a consistent personal branding starting from your favicon, continuing in your portfolio's logo, color palette, visual language, and everything. So I really recommend adding these small details because it really makes a difference and makes your portfolio much more memorable. And you can also send your portfolio for a review. So we have a built-in review mode, and if you open that, you can get a review link. And if you share that with your mentors, teachers, or peers, then they can leave comments right on your portfolio. So they don't have to write you a love letter. They can just pinpoint specific things right on your portfolio, and you can gather all the feedback and then synthesize it all in UXfolio. And now let's see what we created. So this is the portfolio homepage, and this is the About page. And let's check this on mobile actually, because responsive design comes out of the box with UXfolio. So your portfolio will instantly be optimized for mobile and tablet screens. I will just open Inspect. And as you can see, it switched to mobile, so the layouts and everything is mobile friendly now, and even the navigation changed to mobile. And as you can see, the cursor is also the little Figma one that we selected. All right, so this is how you can build a portfolio in UXfolio under 20 minutes. Of course, you still have to work on the content, but you can also work on the content inside UXfolio. We have a writing assistant, so you can always shorten text, fix grammar, improve your writing, or ask anything from the AI. And also add your case studies. So you should add your case studies, and if you have some sensitive work, you can set a password for your specific case studies to protect those. All right. With that, I will share one more useful thing with you. Just let me switch back to my slides here. So today we have a special offer for all of you who joined today. With this code, you can try UXfolio Premium at a discounted price and enjoy all the amazing features I showed you today without any limitations. So just sign up, and then when you're ready to go live, you can redeem the discount at the checkout. All right, with that, I give the mic back to Yaren.
Yes, I'm here, and thank you so much, Reka. And I'm just going to pick some questions. Can you also use a company name with your own logo in your portfolio instead of your first and last name? What are the implications of this?
So I'm not sure I understand the question. Do you mean using a company logo in the navigation instead of your name?
Um,
Maybe. If
yeah.
yes, all right. That's an interesting question. I wouldn't recommend adding a company logo there, but you can design a logo for yourself, for your personal brand. That's what I would put in the navigation. The logo of the company, I would keep in the logo wall that I also used in this example. So I would show the companies that you worked with in a logo wall. But if you do want a logo for yourself, then design one that matches your personality, and then maybe put your name next to it.
All right. And then I'm going to pick another one. Uh, I'm just checking. I'm a UX fresher and suppose I'm redesigning an app from XYZ company to showcase in my portfolio, but I don't have the underlying user research to support the reasons behind the change, except my own thinking process and findings. Do hiring managers recognize such work without backing of user research?
Hmm. That's a very good question, a very interesting problem because a lot of junior designers have this problem. I recommend doing some user research. You can do user interviews, 5 or 3, with your friends, with colleagues, with your family. So that way you show that you can actually do the research. You can also do user tests. So if you redesigned an app to improve its usability, you can just do a quick test with a few friends and add their feedback and insights into your case study. So you can do that. But if you don't want to spend time on doing these, then your case study can still be valuable because your thinking, as you mentioned, is in it. So if you present it very, very clearly, and if you include your iterations and your reasoning behind your decisions, then it can still be a strong case study, but you can make it easily even stronger with the research that I just mentioned.
All right, thank you so much. And we have another question here. It's again about the logos. So I want to continue with this. What about our personal logo for portfolio? Is it mandatory?
No, it's not at all. And I actually don't recommend it. So if you are not, I don't know, passionate about creating logos or graphic design stuff, then I don't recommend forcing a logo into your portfolio. The way that I did it in the presentation in the demo portfolio actually works perfectly. So just write your name in the navigation and it will be super clear that it's your portfolio. Also, don't forget to link it to your homepage so that whenever recruiters are browsing your portfolio, they can always easily get back to your homepage. But no, a logo is definitely not necessary. And I would actually recommend not using one if you don't know how to design a good logo or if you don't have a specific idea for it, because some portfolios that have logos would be better without that logo.
All right, and I have a question about testimonials. Are testimonies useful and how they can be credible?
Yes, testimonials are one of the strongest things that you can add to your portfolio. They make your portfolio much more credible and much more personal also, because it's very, very important that a recruiter or a hiring manager sees how people are talking about you, what it's like to work with you. Because at the end of the day, we want to hire people who are easy to work with, who can collaborate with others, And testimonials from colleagues and previous managers and stakeholders are an amazing way to make sure that you can collaborate and work well in a team. They are also a great way to evaluate team fit. So definitely use them and ask for them if you have the chance, because they will make your portfolio much more stronger.
Thank you. In my previous company, I worked on secure client projects, so I'm not permitted to include or take those projects files with me. However, my experience letter mentions the project details and responsibilities I worked on. I'm unsure how to present these experience effectively in my portfolio.
Yes, this is a very common question that we get. So first of all, it's very important that you respect the terms of your NDA. So it's very important to read that and respect that. But there are ways that you can still present work protected by NDAs in your portfolio. You can abstract the project. So you can write about the process you're thinking without mentioning the company name and exact numbers or metrics. So you can definitely still present how you approach the problem, how you solve the problem, and present your thinking. If you cannot present visuals, you can maybe create some wireframes to highlight, I don't know, a huge change that you did. And you can also remove any logos. So this is one way to do it. You can also password protect these type of projects that can also help. So they are not completely public, but only shared with a few people. But yes, I know that it is hard to include NDA protected work in a portfolio, but with these strategies that I mentioned, you can definitely make it work.
Okay, let's take another one. If I'm applying at multiple companies, how do I customize my portfolio for each? Do I need to make a new portfolio each time? If I keep changing the existing one, then I don't know when will each recruiter see it from which company.
This is a very, very interesting topic. So I do recommend tailoring your portfolio for the jobs that you are applying for, but not for each role. So maybe you can have different types of portfolios. One that is more research heavy, which you use to apply to more research heavy roles for. You can have one that is more visual design focused, that highlights your visual design skills and projects more. So some level of customization is definitely helpful, but don't overthink this and don't create a completely new portfolio for each job. What you can customize is your headline and the skills that you highlight in there, and maybe the order of the case studies or the selection of the case studies, because we did a lot of interviews with recruiters and hiring managers at UXfolio, and almost all of them said that they just opened the first case study. So by changing the order and showing the most relevant case study for that specific job can help a lot. So only these few details you can adjust, but you don't have to build a completely new portfolio for each job. You can easily manage this in UXfolio because we allow for unlimited portfolios. So you will have a dashboard where you see all your portfolios, and you can easily manage each of them.
Thank you so much, Reka. And we have a question about UXfolio. Actually, I would love to go
Okay.
through this. Could you please explain about the custom domain in UXfolio? Do we have to pay extra for obtaining a custom domain? That is coming from Rai Kiran. Sorry if I pronounced wrong, but yeah.
Okay.
That's the
Okay. The first option is to have the UXfolio default URL with your name, so uxfol.io/your name, and that is completely free. You can do it in the free trial as well. So that's one option, and that's also customizable. Then You can connect your own domain. So maybe you already own a domain. You can just easily go and connect it to your portfolio. If you want to purchase a domain because you don't have one, then you can also do that in UXfolio. And then there's an extra fee for that domain. But other than that, there are no extras. So you have these three options you can choose from and easily manage the domain and the hosting through UXfolio.
All right, thank you so much, Reka. We have so many questions, so
Okay, we can
I
take
will.
more. We can take more. It's okay.
Okay, so I will go in the last two. So one of them is that is it appropriate to include a copy of any certifications we have, or should they just be listed in the resume?
Copy
PDF.
of the what? I'm sorry.
A copy of any certifications that they have, like
Yes, that's a
sometimes.
very good point. That's a very good point. So you can show awards and certifications on your about page, just like testimonials. It will make it a lot stronger and help build trust. So definitely include certifications, awards that are relevant for the job. Again, relevancy is a very important criteria here. So always ask yourself before adding something to your portfolio, is this relevant for this role? Would this be interesting to the person who just wants to hire a product designer? So only include relevant certifications. Don't bloat your portfolio with, I don't know what kind of bootcamp that you did 6 years ago. But yes, if a certification is relevant, then it should be shown on your about page.
All right, thank you so much. And yeah, this is gonna be the last question. Is this about the visuals of the website? So does the visuals of the website, animations and effects matter as much as the work and projects to the hiring managers?
This is a very, very good question. When we are talking about UX portfolios, then the work and your thinking process and the storytelling in the case studies matters a lot more than the visuals. But remember, a recruiter has 10 seconds, maybe 30 on your portfolio. And if they don't like what they see, they will close it. So that first impression really matters. And all these fun visuals, animated backgrounds, moving carousels, custom cursors, they help with the first impression and they will grab the attention of the recruiter and make them stay and make them interested in you. So it will not make them hire you. What will make them hire you is your work, is your thinking, is your problem solving skills, your decision making. So that is what gets you hired. But all these nice and fun visuals and micro interactions will get them interested and will make them stay and discover the rest. So it's worth to add them, yes.
Thank you so much. Thank you all for your questions, and thanks, Reka, for the answers. And that brings us to the end of today's session. Thank you again for joining our live portfolio building workshop. We hope seeing the homepage and about page beat step by step gave you some practical ideas for your own portfolio. And again, special thank you to the students from UX Design Institute who joined us today. We loved having you here. As I mentioned in the chat, we will send the session notes and resources soon, so you can revisit the main tips and continue building after the workshop. Have a lovely rest of your day, and we hope to see you at one of our next UXfolio sessions.
Thank you so much. See you. Bye.
Thanks. Bye bye.